Here's everything you need to know about President Donald Trump's attack on, quote, autopen pardons issued by his predecessor, Joe Biden.
It looked like we had an autopen for a president, and we would have been better off if we had, probably. The whole subject of autopen, did he know what he was doing? Did he authorize it? Or is this somebody in an office, maybe a radical left lunatic, just signing whatever that person wants?
On the last day of his presidency, Biden issued a string of 11th-hour pardons, including preemptive pardons to former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, and Dr. Anthony Fauci. He also preemptively issued pardons for all 9 members of the January 6th committee, including the 2 leaders, Rep. Benny Thompson, a Democrat from Mississippi, and then Rep. Liz Cheney, a Wyoming Republican, who later pledged to vote for then Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Now, roughly 2 months later, President Trump is claiming that Biden's pardons were signed via autopen and that he is therefore voiding them. The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the unselect committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by autopen, Trump posted on Truth Social. He continued in post by questioning the age-related mental abilities of his predecessor, writing, "In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them." In the same post, Trump also warned that members of the former January 6 House Select Committee, for whom Biden issued pardons, would be, quote, subject to investigation at the highest level. Trump's declaration to void Biden's pardons comes after the Heritage Foundation conducted an analysis on Biden's signatures on various records and found that the January 19th pardons all carried the exact same autopen signature and raised the question, who is behind this autopen? While a small group of officials under both Biden and Trump have been delegated the power to get documents signed robotically, one source told the Post that a key aide may have made unilateral determinations on what to auto-sign for Biden. The aide would allegedly frequently make mention of what the boss wanted, the source said, but there was no way for other staffers to know if it was true. While several other former staffers described the allegations as absurd, the source said, "I feared no one as much as I feared that staffer. To me, the staffer basically was the president," the person said. "No one ever questioned the staffer, period." Presidential use of autopens, which are defined as devices that mechanically reproduce a person's signature, is nothing new. President Lyndon Johnson used them for the first time back in the 1960s, most notably for letters to children and similar trivial matters. But their use has expanded over the years. President Barack Obama used an autopen in 2013 to sign a major spending bill. And just last year, the U.S. Court of Appeals' Fourth Circuit even held that presidential clemency warrants are not required to be in writing. Since taking office, President Trump has implemented far more restrictive rules for autopen usage. In a January 28th memo, Trump Staff Secretary William Scharf wrote, "We do not use the autopen for documents that exercise the powers of the presidency." When it comes to President Biden's use of autopens, though, the real questions being raised are about what his mental capacity was when the records were signed and about whether or not he was fully aware of what was happening. Last week, Missouri's Attorney General Andrew Bailey demanded an investigation into President Biden's use of autopen signatures on dozens of executive orders. "I am demanding the DOJ investigate whether President Biden's cognitive decline allowed unelected staff to push through radical policy without his knowing approval," Bailey said. At this time, it remains unclear whether any court will take steps to avoid Biden's pardons over the autopen claims.